Evil is where heart and soul is excised, where there's no place for it and it's not permitted. Evil is hatred in your heart. Evil is not just doing harm, but wreaking harm intentionally, maliciously, destructively. You take too many steps going down, and at the bottom there's a trap door into which anyone might fall. Well, obviously, there's a lot of good things to say about civilization, but sometimes I wonder if our lives here are what they seem. If the rule of law and peace on the streets is just a veneer, with our bloody instincts still seething underneath, just waiting to come out into the open. The reason I ask is that I don't want to play games my entire life. I want to find the truth, no matter how painful, and if necessary, take the steps we need to take for the good life to flourish, the real life. Is it possible, I want to ask, that evil is lurking even in these United States as a part of the major social institutions and our daily life? I don't like to use the word evil. It should be reserved for the absolute worst. Using it frivolously cheapens it and creates a false equivalency. I myself am lucky enough that I have never seen evil firsthand. But that means I have all the more responsibility to take account of the reality and the position of those, and of course there are many, who have met evil face to face. We should recognize that there's a difference between what's simply bad and what's actually evil. There's hardly a comparison. Wherever selfishness goes, wherever we're small-minded or insensitive or unaware, bad things happen, and there's plenty of that. Evil, however, is at another level, but there's a path that leads to it. You take too many steps going down, and at the bottom there's a trap door into which any one of us could fall. So let me start by asking, is the internet evil? The internet is the leading force of our world currently. What does it stand for? What does it accomplish? I'll tell you this, in spite of it being generally an open forum, it is not innocent. We had always depended on face-to-face communication. By allowing complete anonymity, the internet removes natural constraints, constraints that forced us previously to act with decency. This means we can say anything that comes to our minds, watch anything that used to be hidden. Without the guardrails that were put into place over the course of thousands of years, and that means civilization, the internet has opened the floodgates to the most base aspects of our nature.
I didn't know such depravity existed in humans, and I think dogs treat their kind better than humans treat their kind. It's just, there is no dignity or respect on the internet because we're not held accountable. Nobody's there to tell us not to. I have always believed that the internet is a manifestation of the Antichrist, of evil itself. It is the spirit of evil. And I feel like it's running through everybody on earth, and it's claiming its victories in those people that are also evil.
And what about the United States? Its social institutions are certainly corrupt. The medical system, charging tens of thousands of dollars for a simple surgery to repair a broken arm. Pharmaceutical companies plying antidepressant drugs on people who are suffering from a personal crisis. Powerful entities reaping massive profits by taking advantage of the sick. If that isn't the definition of evil, what is? We have an epidemic of empty commercial buildings while people are sleeping in squalor on the streets below. The media, the education system, the entertainment apparatus, the economy, the military, all our social institutions have been overrun wholesale, have been taken over by systems that overrule and dominate the individual. Society itself is now controlled by big business and big government, submerging and drowning the individual. Okay, we can't say what is evil unless we understand what evil is. Here's an example. I was a spoiled, pampered, and inquisitive child, always asking questions, a lady said. Her name was Helen. She described young Nazi soldiers storming into her house to look for valuables. One of them sat in my father's chair, thrust his boots near my mother's face, threw our fine linens at her and barked, "Polish them." And as she began to do it, I didn't ask why, and I didn't say no. That was the beginning of 6 years of helplessness, humiliation, degradation. We know that the Holocaust was evil, and you hear the number 6 million, but what does that mean to you? Evil is where heart and soul is excised, where there is no place for this and it is not allowed. Evil is hatred in your heart. Evil is not just doing harm, but wreaking harm maliciously and destructively. In spite of having been spared its direct consequences for most of us, it does exist in some form in all of us. Evil is our unique heritage and burden, the sole prospect of Homo sapien. We have not yet conquered the demons that gave rise to the Holocaust. If we don't, it will recur, or maybe it is recurring. But let's take a breath. That's enough for now. Watch your step. Don't go too far on the downward path. Don't look too hard into the eyes of evil. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. When you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. Turn around, go in the other direction, and ask a question that is far more important. Not what is evil, but what is good.